We're all doing our best, but sometimes it feels like that's not enough and we get overwhelmed. Then, if we confide to friends, family, coworkers, whoever about our overwhelm, or even if we just look it up online, we're met with the same advice: rest. Now, rest is important. You're never going to hear me saying that it's not. But if you haven't been resting, if your body is used to a state of just like overwork and frenzy and stress, it's not like you can just flip a switch and say, okay, and now I'm resting, right? We kind of have to ease ourselves into it. This is why if you have been stressed and overwhelmed and you take a vacation, you may not find that it's super easy to unplug or relax for the first little bit because you're not used to it. Your body is living for that adrenaline rush. And even though it's stressing you out and causing a lot of problems and overwhelm, you're still used to that. And so when there's a big change, your body doesn't know what to do with it and tries to get back to that state. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, I have a few little ways that you can practice adding rest into your day. These are all just ideas. Pick one or a few that sound like they will work for you. I feel like a lot of the productivity and like life channels here on YouTube are really prescriptive. They're like, okay, well, if this is your problem, then this. But that's not usually how it works being a human being. So I want to give you some suggestions that may help you. And then if you come up with your own ideas, I'd love to hear that as well. Okay, let's get to the ideas. Okay, first up, this is one that you can hopefully incorporate at work, and it is to take an actual lunch break. I'm guilty of this. I've worked from home for most of my career, and so it's really easy a lot of times to just take your meal and take it back to your desk or scarf a granola bar between meetings or whatever. We don't want to give up that time that we could be working, and so that's one really quick way. If you have a 15-minute lunch break where you work, just take 15 minutes and actually eat your lunch and, don't do anything else unless you're maybe, conversing casually with a coworker or something. If you have an hour break for lunch, and that just seems like way too much time to give up, try to figure out if you can just take 15 minutes to eat. You don't necessarily have to have like this perfect lunch break every single day. The idea here is to use your lunch break as a time where you can actually rest from the work that you're doing, even if it's just for a few minutes. The second idea, and this one is also related to unplugging from work because a lot of times I feel like that's where our stressors are. If work isn't one of your stressors, no worries. I will have some more suggestions. I have a lot here, but this is one that's worked personally for me, and it is pick a time. I usually would pick 8 p.m. You can pick an earlier or later time depending on your sleep schedule and work schedule, but I would pick 8 p.m. and I would say, okay, after that time, there's no computer, there's no phone, there's nowhere where I could see an email or a text that's going to stress me out or get me potentially back on that hamster wheel of work that just never ends. And so you pick a time and then you power everything down, or you put it in another room, or you hand it to somebody who loves you and you say, do not give this to me for the rest of the night unless it's some sort of emergency, right? The good thing about this is that it really forces you to unplug from the thing that is probably contributing to a lot of your overwhelm. And if you get some pushback on this at work, either of these things really, there are a lot of studies that show that actually disengaging for 10 minutes, 15 minutes during the day, over a lunch break or a break, or really taking that time to unplug and rest for a few hours at night makes you more productive during the day. So you can just reframe it and say, yes, I know that I am not as available 24/7 as I have been, but that is in an effort to make sure that I am more productive and more present during the workday when the entire team needs me. So hopefully they're reasonable and they listen to that, but you really do need to be doing what you can to reclaim and practice that rest. And chances are the people that you're worried about reacting negatively to your little bit of delay in response time are not even going to notice.
Well, hey there, it is Editing Julianne, and yes, I am wearing the same shirt, but I just wanted to butt in here because I realized that I forgot to say something that is actually like super important to this whole idea. And it's that you are a human being, and rest is not a nice thing to have. It's not like an optional thing that you can do without if you need to increase your productivity or be more efficient. Like, it is something that you need to do to take care of your body and mind. And so that reasoning that I gave is in terms of like, There are studies that show that rest makes you more productive. That is a really great reason to have in your back pocket when you are talking with a coworker or talking with a boss who is wondering why you're not as available outside of working hours as you used to be. But that is not the reason that you need to be telling yourself for why you need to rest. Because if you do that, rest is just going to become another thing on your to-do list, and you're not going to be able to truly rest because you're just like, okay, did I rest enough to check that off, right? Really, the whole rest as a productivity increaser is kind of a problematic thing because why are we making human beings act like machines anyway? But that's a side tangent. It is something that you're probably going to encounter in the workplace. And so I wanted to include that, but I just need you to know that that is not the reason that you're resting. You're resting to take care of yourself, like your whole self, because you need that rest and it is okay to take it. And if you've been telling yourself for a long time that it's not okay to take it, that's what these ideas are here to help you with, is to kind of ease you into some ways where you can take it and you feel good about it. And then you can start doing it in bigger and more consistent ways.
Okay, third idea. This one is actually really hard, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend starting with this unless you're just like, no, that sounds amazing and I want to do that. But it's simply setting a 15-minute timer, sitting down and doing nothing for 15 minutes. When I would do this, I would find myself with my mind wandering about the things I wanted to do or needed to do. I would find myself trying to think thoughts and thinking, oh, I need to write that down. This is different than creating white space in your life. This is really just forcing yourself to rest. And if you're somebody like me who oftentimes has trouble sleeping because of anxiety or just because you're just going, this is a really, really hard exercise to just try to tell yourself, okay, we're going to sit here. We're not going to do anything with our hands. We're not going to do anything with our mind. And we're just going to remind ourselves that existing is enough. We don't have to be doing all the time. It's really hard, but it can be a nice little reset button if you are struggling to rest in these other ways. Okay, back to some easier ones. Okay, this next one is a little bit of a bridge between working, and true rest, but we're going to take it because progress is better than trying to be perfect at it and then not doing anything. So this idea is to do something that is mentally and physically absorbing for you. So if you like working with your hands, this may be working with your hands to do something, build something, craft something, whatever. Like for me, a lot of times when I need to get out of my head, I get art supplies out and I paint or I draw. But it could be anything. It could be pottery. It could be woodworking. It could be cleaning, whatever you need to do to really engage your mind and your hands. And then if you don't feel yourself being so restless, but it's your mind that's really the problem, you can also expand that to include reading a book or watching a movie or just something that gets you out of your own head and your endless to-do list and just your feeling of overwhelm and gets you into another mode. I know that's really vague, but that's because depending on who you are, this activity is going to be different. So like I said earlier, for me, drawing is one of these activities, but also every once in a while I declutter, and that is my thing because it takes a lot of effort and concentration to think about, okay, do I want to keep this? Do I use this? Is it useful? Do I love it? Why did I have it in the first place? Putting it in the donation pile, and then I can see my progress. And it really gets me out of that mindset of I just have so much to do. I just pause and I focus on this one thing that maybe doesn't really matter in the bigger scheme of things, but it helps me get more centered in myself and feel much more at ease. The fifth idea is to bring in some accountability. So if you are struggling to rest and you just don't know when you're going to make the time, then my suggestion is to make plans with someone that you don't want to let down. So this could be a really good friend, this could be your partner, this could be your parents, whoever it is that you want to spend some time with, you don't want to let them down, they'll be disappointed if you cancel. Make some plans and then share with them either before you get there or once you get there. Say, hey, I am really trying to practice resting. I have been overwhelmed and anxious a lot because of, whatever is going on in your life. Probably lots of things, honestly. And say, so I need you to help keep me accountable during this outing. If you notice me checking my phone a lot or just not seeming like I'm super engaged with what's going on, please call me out on it because I do want to be present. I've been looking forward to this time and I need to practice resting and relaxing. So that's something I'm working on and I just appreciate you keeping me accountable for that. If you share that with somebody who cares about you, they are going to be willing to help you on that because they know that if you are having fun and relaxed, they're going to have a better time. And they also know that it's good for you to do those things. So bringing in accountability on that can be key. I do this on a smaller level about every night. My husband knows that after a certain time, I don't really want to be on my phone all the time. And so especially when I was working full time, there would be nights where he would say, hey, can you put that away? Because I know that you don't really want to be tied up in work stuff at this time of night. And I'd say, oh yeah, thank you. Or I'd say, well, this is an exception. And so I'm going to finish this up and then I'll put it away, right? You can do what works for you, but having that accountability is going to make it a lot more sustainable and helpful for you as you're trying to build those muscles of resting and relaxing on a daily basis. And I say daily, but obviously you can't go from no resting to resting every single day, which is why I'm having all these ideas that you can schedule in like once a week, once a month, or even once a day, so that hopefully as you try more and more of these ideas and you spot other ways that you can incorporate rest into your day, eventually you will have a rhythm of resting just a little bit every single day, which is going to carry you farther than, getting overwhelmed and burning out and then going on a vacation that doesn't fix it and then repeating that cycle year after year. Okay, the next idea, and I have lost count at this point, so bear with me, but the next idea is to take up a restful hobby. Specifically taking up something that helps you relax, refresh, and or reflect. So this could look like journaling. This could look like meditation. This could look like yoga. This could even look like something like running or whatever. Basically, you want to try something that is going to be a clear signal to your brain that, okay, I am taking this time to intentionally rest, refocus, reflect, and relax. A lot of times with this hobby, you can create a little bit of a relaxation ritual. So for example, one of the things that I do to help manage my anxiety, but also to just relax, is I do breathing exercises. And so when I'm sitting down to do a breathing exercise, I can do them on the fly as well as needed. But when I'm sitting down to do a breathing exercise intentionally, and I'll usually do some journaling as well, I have a little routine where I turn on this little water fountain that has like relaxing noises that engages my sense of hearing. A lot of times I will light a candle that I really enjoy that engages my sense of smell. And all of those things kind of signal to my brain, it's time to relax. We're going to take our deep breaths and we're going to write some things down. And this is my, 10-minute ritual that I can do whenever I need to just sort of signal to my brain, okay, it's time to relax. Let's do that for a little bit before we rush off to the next thing. Okay. And then the final two ideas, these are both really simple. But they're a great combination of actual resting with an activity that you can put on the calendar or just feel good about doing. The first is take a nap. There's a lot of evidence that shows that napping for a short little bit in the afternoon can actually increase your productivity. And so if you are fortunate enough to have like a 15-minute to a half-hour break in the afternoon, taking a nap can be a really good use of that time. It doesn't have to be in the afternoon. It can be, whenever you want to fit it in. But taking a nap is a great way to practice resting. It is resting your whole body and your mind. And the second one is similar. It's taking a bath. You just get in the bathtub, kind of unwind, make sure that you aren't bringing anything like productive in with you. So this is just a chance to relax, be comfortable, take care of yourself and your body. Both of these, and really all relaxation techniques, when you're used to going so much, it's a really good reminder that if you just stop for a minute, the world is not going to end. Your career is not gonna spiral out of control. So if you need to take a bath or take a nap or whatever, like, do that. Give it a try, see how it goes. Before we end this video, I do want to give a little disclaimer that none of these ideas, like in and of themselves, are going to be enough to just be like, oh yeah, I'm all rested and I'm ready to go. Probably. You do need deep restorative rest at times, but hopefully these will help provide some stepping stones so that when you have the opportunity to take a day off or to go on a retreat or to take a week's vacation where you can just truly relax and unwind, unplug from the world, you have built those skills back into your life so that you know really how to relax and unplug. It's a problem I think most of us don't actually realize we have until we try to do it. We spend our whole lives so busy and we think, well, if only I could relax. But then when the time comes that you really can relax, you don't know what to do with yourself because you're so used to being busy. If you're feeling overwhelmed and you're not really sure what to do, these are some quick ideas that you can take. Even just 15 minutes of any of these things should help you get a little bit of that rest in that your body and your mind are craving, and should help over time, probably not immediately, but over time, as you repeat them a little bit each day, should help you feel a little bit less overwhelmed, because you'll realize, first of all, that it's not all riding on you. And second of all, that you have more time than you think. And hopefully, third, and most important, you'll also realize that the things that are stressing you out and that are overwhelming you are not all that there is to life. And you'll start to see things to be excited about and things that are beautiful in your life. So I hope that helps. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.